Chapter 5: Physical Violence. We warn that individuals who violate covenants of chastity, who abuse spouse or offspring, or who fail to fulfill family responsibilities will one day stand accountable before God. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Physical abuse is often what comes to mind first when the average person is asked what they know about interpersonal and family violence. In the upcoming chapters, however, you will see that physical abuse is only one of many dangerous types of violence and abuse, most of which are worse than physical abuse. This is not to discount the significance of physical abuse, but to bring awareness that physical abuse, just like all other kinds of abuse, is about power and control. I am never reminded of this more than in my own practice when a victim confides in me that, before escaping their situation, they frequently wished their parent or partner would just hit them so other people could see on the outside how badly they were hurting on the inside. Every moment that a victim spends hurting on the inside, secretly wondering how long she can endure in the current situation, tailoring her actions to the whims of her abuser's moods, is a moment that the abuser holds power over her. A situation I witnessed one Sunday in church illustrates this point. For some time, I had been concerned for the teenage girl in a particular family. She lacked social skills and proper hygiene, and she had low self-esteem. On this Sunday, as I watched the girl's father sit down in the seat beside her and then shift his weight slightly, I saw the girl flinch away dramatically. She closed her eyes tight, as if she was bracing herself for something to happen. I could see that the father was simply adjusting his position in the seat, but it was obvious that she was frightened by his presence. I watched her take in a breath and then make a visible effort to calm her breathing, all while remaining in her seat but leaning slightly away from him. I later learned that this father had been physically abusing his wife and children. But even when he wasn't being physical, it was apparent that he held power over them just by being present. Without lifting a hand, this father had control of his daughter's fear reactions. In fact, much of the time, people who abuse their spouses, partners, or children physically harm their loved ones less often than you might imagine. Aside from perpetrators who also have an unregulated mood disorder, substance use disorder, or other addiction, most batters don't spend a lot of time beating on their loved ones. Often, people who physically abuse only have to use this type of violence to establish control over their victims. One act of violence sends a message that lasts a very long time. This was something we emphasized to our state senators when my team and I went to the Capitol to support a bill that would make strangulation a felony. As an abuser strangles his victim into unconsciousness, he is sending the message that he can kill and has power over the victim's life. This message persists not just until the victim temporarily loses vision or can no longer breathe, but every moment after consciousness returns. A district attorney once pointed out to me that sometimes abusers don't even need to touch their victims in order to be physically violent towards them. He shared the story of a case where police were called to a home after neighbors had heard a woman screaming for help. When the police arrived on scene, they could see that no one was hurt, but the family was visibly upset. The police asked the woman if she had been hurt, and she told them no. As they were about to leave, an officer noticed that the hallway wall leading to the bedroom was full of large holes where the sheetrock had been smashed in. The officer asked how this had happened, and the woman told him that whenever she made her husband mad, he would punch a hole through the wall and say, "Next time, that's your face." He wouldn't let her patch the holes or cover them up. Instead, he used them to remind her of the physical power and control he held over her and the harm he could do. This man had not laid hands on his wife that night, but his actions gave the district attorney cause to prosecute him for physical violence toward his family. Using physical force to maintain power and control by causing fear of harm is physically abusive behavior, even if it does not cause injury or pain. This is why it's vital for helpers to understand that physical violence can occur in many forms, some that involve little to no physical touch. This list, while not exhaustive, illustrates how many forms of violence are considered physical abuse. Pointing a gun or other weapon at someone, restraining someone so they cannot move or get away, forcing someone to go somewhere, punching, throwing objects, kicking, pushing and shoving, grabbing clothing, pulling hair, strangling with hands, strings, or other objects, suffocating or smothering, biting, slapping, pinching, burning, scratching, maiming, cutting, depriving the victim of sleep, depriving the victim of food, driving recklessly. Victims of some of these physically violent acts may show no visible signs of injury. Regardless, victims of any of these actions are being physically abused, sometimes to the point of being in life-threatening situations.